Our edition today is, as you can see behind me, Global HR Business, Global Business, Mobile Talent. And our guest today, Aaron Florez, is in downtown Dallas, and he is the president and owner of Southbound Relocation, apartment locating and relocation rental assistance. And the website is Southbound, one word, Southbound Relocation, all one word, .com. Welcome, Aaron.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a long time coming, hasn't it, sir?
Yeah, but it's worth it, and I really love your rapid response to that long-winded pitch that I gave you. But that's what it is. I thought, I didn't know whether you'd accept it or what, but I decided I'd better just lay it all out in plain English, and then you do or you don't. That's all.
Yeah, you know what? It pays to be persistent, and we've been going back and forth for a little
Oh,
while
a
now,
couple of years, yeah.
a couple years, and I think timing is everything. So I think it's a wonderful time to spread the word of what's going on because of what's going on in the industry. So I'm glad that we waited to do it right now. So I'm excited to talk with you.
No,
Thank you so
and
much
the
for the
timing
opportunity.
is absolutely excellent because in the relocation industry, it's a transformative time right now. Um, not just because housing prices are so high and interest rates are so high that more and more people are renting, period. That's it. That's all there is to it. And the
It's
rental assistance hasn't now some people do it well, but most don't. And you've hit on a hot button here, and that's why I'm really delighted to have you on our program. So let's back up. Give me the history of southboundrelocation.com.
Sure, absolutely. So I have a real estate background. I've been in real estate for almost 15 years, and came across relocation about 10 years ago while I was doing apartment locating for a while, and started hearing some buzzwords, lump sum, relocation, buzzwords, and they were from larger companies. At the time it was, I'm from Dallas, Texas, so there was, HP at the time, Dr. Pepper, so JC Penney was doing a lot of reloads, and we were getting a lot of those lump sums, and I just started to raise that question of, there's a lot of large companies out here, but what's going on? Like, why are they, why are they not giving them a little bit more support on finding housing? And when you start looking at what we do for a living in relocation, I mean, we're in the service industry. We help individuals, we help companies and their employees help them find a better place to live. And sometimes those rental programs or lump sums are just not adequate enough to help somebody find a place to live. And touching on what you said, Ed, in an evolving industry in today's market where talent is so sought after, you have a war on talent, you have all these factors with housing. Well, now when you look at any corporation and any relocation population, it's now flipped. It's now 60-70% renters and less homeowners. So I'm raising that question because it's not talked about very much. Everybody still talks about the housing market. And I know there's a lot of changes there, and that's not my specialty. My specialty is renting and helping people find a place to live. But I want to raise more awareness of, what, it's not just the individual coming in for a new job that gets a lump sum that's a renter. We relocate managers, directors, VPs, and also C suites. I've relocated. I can't tell you how many C suites or director level or VP levels into Dallas and all across the country. We're nationwide, but specifically my personal experience, because I still do the rental assistance myself sometimes, because at the end of the day, I get to show off my city. So, that's part of what we do, and it's become a passion to really offer my service to companies, but more importantly, raise the question of, are we helping these employees find the right place to live if they're renters? And when you have more renters than not, it's time for a change. It's time for a better service. It's time to implement a different service. We are a white glove, A to Z, find you a place to live, regardless of if you come in town or not come in town. We're going to help you find a place to live. So, I would challenge anybody to go to a city and type in apartments.com and look at how overwhelming that can be. And that's what you're doing. That's the burden that you're putting on your employee. Now, Dallas is I'm using Dallas because that's my hometown. It's my home base. But any city. But I challenge anybody to go and ask their employees what their experience was on any kind of rental lump sum that they had to do on themselves. And every person that we've asked, the number one thing is finding housing. And a prime example, apartments.com or any kind of website is not going to answer all the questions a relocation individual needs. Now, if you live in the city, by all means, apartments.com is a wonderful resource. And if you know the area, you know what you're doing. But when you go to apartments.com and you don't know the city, and you think you're getting a great deal because it's $1,000 off, and it's a great location, they say it's in the right part of town or whatnot. I'm here to tell you that, you know what, their job is to sell leases. And so you can find yourself in a place that you don't want to be. Now,
Right.
why does that matter to a company? Why does that matter to an HR director? Why does that matter to talent mobility, talent acquisition? Well, if your person goes on the opposite side of the highway and it's another hour and a half commute to work, how happy do you think they're going to be going to work every day?
Terrible. That's the quiet quitting crowd. So let me ask you a question, if just for the audience out there, which is um, about half corporate managers
Mhm.
working for companies having more than 1,000 employees. So this is pretty big. Um, so how does this happen now? Uh, so I'm being recruited to move from LA into Dallas. And let's see, I know that Dallas, Fort Worth, Metroplex, the airport's in the middle, and big wide open spaces with just tons of communities scattered all over the place. And
Correct.
it takes a while to go from, say, Arlington to um, Frisco. We don't even know where the hell I'm talking about, but you know. And so you're going to ask me who's moving, family size, ages, do they want a playroom? Do they need a yard, or is it going to be in a high-rise apartment?
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
that kind of thing. So they're going to tell you, well, I've got a benefit package. But why don't you tell me and the audience how this really happens? Are you contacted by the corporate, or are you contacted by the individual?
So I'll give you two instances where I guess the flow, if you will. We operate corporate direct, so we'll work directly with the telemobility or relocation director or whoever's in charge of relos, or we'll work with we're supplier with RMCs as a dedicated rental assistance program. But essentially, how that flow would work either way is we would be contacted through the company or RMC with the individual's information, general information, and our responsibility, and we take that upon ourselves because we want to know as much information as possible. Our service is we offer a flat fee service that is paid by the company direct, or it's paid through the RMC, and we pay a referral fee back to the RMC. But I'll stick with the corporate direct, where we have unique and innovative products to integrate our rental assistance program to facilitate a lot more employees, to help them find a place to live through managing and adjusting some of the relocation budgets. Now, I can't get into too much detail into that because that's sort of our secret sauce, but we are able to maneuver and not raise a relocation budget to cover our costs, if that makes sense. So I'm able to go in and move some things around because of the space that we're in and the things that we operate and facilitate. I'll take that a step further with the experience that we offer for that individual looking for a place to rent. I think there's a lot of companies that have taken the rental assistance under their services. We offer, like I said, a white glove service, and that white glove service is we get to know the individual. And we talked about this before we went online. Is I love my job because it's relocation is an experience. It's not a burden. And it shouldn't be that way. And I think if you look at a lot of relocations today and you ask anybody about their relocation experience, man, it was overwhelming. It was stressful. It was, you can see the stress on their face. Where we take somebody and we can hear that stress. But by the end of the phone call, when we say, hey, when you fly down here, we're going to go through everything you like, not just your needs. I need a 2-bedroom. I need, have a dog. I don't want to be on the bottom floor, your needs, but also your lifestyle. What do you do outside of work? Like, tell me, what do you like to do? Well, you know what? I'm going to be working downtown, but I love to run, or me and the dog love the dog parks, and we love this, or I love music. I love music so much. I want to be by where to be, and so taking all those factors, it's not just I can find anybody an apartment anywhere in the city, but is it right for you? Is there a better location? Is there a better spot that fits your lifestyle, that when you go downstairs, you can walk or take an Uber that's 5 minutes down the road to an area of town that's all live music, and you're just like, oh my God, this man, I don't love just my apartment, man. I love where I live. I love my neighborhood. I love everything around me. I love all the restaurants Aaron took me to whenever I went to go visit. I love everything. And I get to walk to work. Are you kidding me? Like, now I'm an advocate for the company. Now that when you ask that person, man, how do you like working for, we do work for AT&T and several other companies, but how do you like your job with AT&T? Man, are you kidding me? Man, I just moved to Dallas. I was freaked out about it. And you know what, man? They hooked me up with this guy, Aaron Florez, with Southbound Relocation. He showed me the perfect apartment. I love where I live. I was so scared. He got me into a safe unit. I'm a single woman. I walk to work every day. You know what? Life is pretty good. And I really like the company I work for. So when you start putting all those puzzle pieces together, is it worth the flat fees that we charge to put together this rental assistance program? It's invaluable, in my opinion.
Fascinating. Okay, so now let's talk about lump sum. So you're not given a lump sum. The employee is given a lump sum, right? And
Right.
then they have to decide, are they going to buy a car, or are they going to go out to dinner 5 times a week, or are they going to just plow it back into housing?
Well, I'll tell you this: we are actively speaking with several different corporations on some of our innovative products for rental assistance that is almost uh, partialing out and I don't want to use some of the normal words that people use with, the flexes and the core flex, because it's very different.
How do you know what it means? I know.
Exactly. Like what are you actually doing? Or some of these programs that say that they give a client options, they give them a menu of all these things to do. And, a lot of a lot of individuals say that we're empowering the employee to make their own decisions. Well, let's call it what it is, folks. You're dumping all the responsibility on the employee. That's what we're really doing. Like, let's call it how it is, guys. But in my instance, going back to what you asked on the lump sum, is we're working together with several companies right now to either partial that out, where we have a direct bill with our service included, where it's maybe adjusted on their lump sum, or we have a couple of partners that we work with and putting together a discounted program uh, for working with some of our services. But just telling that story to HR directors on the the value of dollars spent going to where it needs to be spent on somebody that's going to help them find a place to live, over let's just give somebody 5,000, 10,000 bucks and hope for the best. And I love telling this story, but I would argue that anybody tell me that's different, but it's very similar to what happened to me when I was 19 years old. 19 years old, I got into a fender bender, and I got the insurance money, and I went to my buddy's uncle. I bought him a 12 pack of beer. He fixed my fender, and I took the rest of the money and I went and bought speakers for my car. I mean, so when you take that scenario, that's what people do with lump sums. What are they doing? They're going to go buy TVs. They're going to go buy
Right.
couches. They're going to go on a trip. They're going to buy a dog, and they're going to wait to the last minute. And now they have to choose on what moving company they're going to use. Is it the right one? Or now I wish I would have paid for somebody to help me, but now I'm screwed going to apartments.com. And now when you look at the whole relocation experience, at the end, when they're not happy, was that money really, really well spent? And my opinion is no. And the reason I say no is I've talked to these people on the end so many times that call me last minute saying, man, I'm freaking out, man. I don't know what to do. Where we can alleviate that whole problem and give them a safe
Right.
land with Southbound relocation.
Okay, now let's talk about apps. Is there an app for what you're doing?
We are a service-based company, and
Hands-on,
in
hands-on.
in a in a service, I'm pro tech, and with everything out there with AI and different products, and we have stuff on the back end for reporting and things like that. But when it comes to delivering a service, it's face to face. There's no other way to deliver a great service as opposed to any app out there saying that they're going to deliver a good service, finding you the right place to live. I'll battle it because they're going to be, is an app or somebody's new technology that in rental assistance going to tell you that this building behind me, their elevator doesn't work half the time. Well, this client asked me to go tour this building, and I said, no, we're not going to go look at it. We're going to go look at these three over here. And she said, well, why not? And the answer is, do you want your elevator to work? And she's like, oh, wow. Yeah. What if you're on the 25th floor like me and the elevator never works? Like that's privy information that I know. And that's
Yeah,
information that our agents know. Our agents are the best for rental assistance, and it's apartments, condos, townhomes, or whatever. But you gotta know. There's no app that's going to do that for you. I mean, I'm sure maybe one day, but it's going to be a long time where you know all the
yeah,
ins and plus you also have, on top of that, is the rapport and experience from talking to an individual. That you talk to somebody and you find out that they love Thai food. And so when you go to these restaurants, when you go to these apartments, you know what? man, there's a Thai restaurant that you can walk to right here, and it's one of the best in the city. That's a game changer.
Yeah,
You know that
yeah,
that that
because you care.
because we care. Absolutely. Like we absolutely care. And that just it all adds up to like when that employee walks in the door on day one. And that
And the employer is going to see it right away.
the employers, they don't have to ask, can I leave the lunch early? Can I take a longer lunch? Can I knock off an hour early? Man, I gotta go look at some other apartments. I just haven't found the right one yet, you know, or walking in day one with a massive grin on your face because you had Thai food last night. You walked your dog in this beautiful dog park that Aaron showed you. You're in the 25th floor of this high rise, and you go to work saying, "Man, what do you need me to do? Man, I'm here to work."
Life is good. Life is good.
Life is good, and it's not like we're our charges are very, very, very reasonable. It's worth it in the long run. It's investing in your employees and investing in the long term of your company.
So we're talking with Aaron Florez, and company is, you may guess already, is Southbound Relocation.com. Okay, so does that mean that you were originally from Chicago or Toronto and everybody was moving south?
No, it was a play on Texas has been the grunt of the relocations and moving south. And although I love East Coast and all that stuff, I'm from Texas, born and raised. So it's Southbound, baby. Even though, I mean, I will say this. I mean, we're nationwide. So we go north, we go east, we go west. But the origination was, everybody's coming to Texas.
So I have to tell you a couple of things here, okay? I mean, in the past, we all have pasts. In the past, I was a print magazine publisher, all
Uh-huh.
right, and glossy color. And I developed a series of guidebooks. The first one was California Bound, relocation
Okay.
guides. It's a
Okay.
guide to communities, and the advertisers we had paid for the thing, but we also sold copies to the chambers of commerce and the companies as recruitment tools. All right, and we're supported by ads, and so we had apartment developers buy ads, and of course some realtors. So I did California Bound, was really successful. I did Arizona Bound, and then I did a Texas Bound. And this
Okay.
was in 1984, give you an idea. Okay. So, and then but I never broke it apart into Dallas and Houston and Austin and kind of thing. Maybe I should have, or I should have just sold it to somebody, but I didn't do that. So I really like your name, Southbound.
Thank you. No,
I've
thank
got
you.
an affinity for it, and I totally get what you're doing. Okay, so now let let's talk about rental relocation.
Mhm.
That's what we're talking about here.
Right.
So a lot of people cannot afford to buy homes now because the interest rates are so high. It's in 2 years or so, it's 100% higher than than it was, right? And so, or even more. So,
It's bananas.
are you finding homes for people to rent, not just high-rise apartments or garden communities?
Wonderful question. And the answer is yes. On full rental service, we've been talking about apartments, and I think that's just something that just needs more awareness. But when it comes to full rental assistance, condos, townhomes, rent homes, and of course apartments, we do it all. So yes, on the rent homes, and you're right, and I don't think that's the only factor that's coming into play on why you're seeing that massive shift of renters versus buyers in the relocation population. One is exactly like you said, with uh, interest rates being so high, it's hard to get a house, but the housing rates have gone, the housing, just the cost of housing is so high. um, we're at 75, 80% of America can't even buy a home. I mean, we're at a really, really interesting time right now. But and it should be talked about on how we're going to take care of this population that can't buy, and that is the renters. I mean, that's just the renters. I think there's other factors that come into play. You have a baby boomer population that are empty nesters that are sick and tired of taking care of their lawn or overall house maintenance. They want to downsize. So you're seeing a lot of individuals moving into urban style areas and urban style living. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to move to downtown Dallas. Just like you said, we have several suburbs throughout Dallas, Fort Worth. Frisco was one that you mentioned. But there are high rises and apartments and urban living throughout Frisco. And you're seeing a lot of individuals that just enjoy that style of living. Am I going to spend my money or time on my property, or am I going to make a phone call and I'm going to go enjoy this new restaurant that just opened up down the street? So you see that. I think you're also seeing a generational shift of what people want as a style of living. The younger generation, I'm on the tail end of that now. I'm on the early 40s generation, but I still, that and under, you're seeing just a lot of individuals that are carrying a lot of debt, or they're not choosing to have children. They just want to enjoy life and not have to worry about other things like keeping $15,000 in the savings account because the water heater might go out, or any kind of problems or anything like that. What they'd rather do, they'd rather take that trip to Greece and take more pictures and do an international trip every year. So you're seeing just overall goals and style of living changing. And that's what I want to bring to the forefront to the HR community, the talent mobility community, the relocation people that are looking at how are we going to retain talent? How are we going to gain talent? And how are we going to just set ourselves apart differently from making this is the place to be, to work, because we want you happy.
So a lot of people who cannot afford to buy because of no down payment or because of the high interest rates, they can't qualify. And
Right.
the companies aren't going to help them buy a home. Though these people are going to become renters. And so, you know what's happening. It has happened in the past, and now it's really happening, is that Wall Street investors are buying houses, having them built on spec. And then the Wall Street guys are forming these investment funds and getting investors, and they're buying up streets of new houses that are
Another
maybe cookie cutter, and then they're turning them over to guys like you to rent. They're not even going to sell them. They're going to rent them out.
They're going to rent them, and you brought something that I definitely wanted to talk about. Thank you so much for bringing that up.
You bet.
Uh, and it's very unique in knowing this space. And what you're talking about is you're having developers now develop a community of 400, 500 homes that are one bedroom up to a 4 bedroom house, but they are run very specifically and very similarly to an apartment community where you have a one leasing office, you have a full maintenance team, you have amenities like you would at an
Yeah,
apartment
sure. I mean,
community.
like a tennis club, golf
Absolutely,
course, and
absolutely. The whole
swimming pool all in one corner,
the
and they do it
whole
in communities.
correct. And the term that everybody's using, the buzzword is build to rent, BTR. BTR is the word. And I'll tell you this, that's something that's very important for the relocation community, because you have individuals that want to go into somewhere that they feel safe, comfortable, and know that if they have problems, they're going to be able to get that thing, get that problem fixed in a timely manner. So the way these are structured is a massive benefit. We have an exclusive uh, database of all BTR communities in the United States. my company, Southbound Relocation, we have access to all the communities like this. So when you do have a renter that needs a home, we're able to facilitate and find those properties that not everybody knows about and not everybody's familiar about. And it's very, very important because going, the advantage to going to a BTR community again versus a private is you don't have any control over when a private homeowner is going to fix that garage.
Right.
You may have a water heater go out or the garage doesn't work, and you call the owner or the property management company that runs it for that particular owner, and it's a mom and pop. They're overworked. They're going to get to you whenever they get to you. In the middle dead of summer and Texas heat in July, your AC goes out. And they're overworked. You know what? 3 days of 118 degrees in your house is not fun. But having a community where there's a set maintenance team, a community, leasing manager that's going to facilitate and help those problems, that's another valuable element that the Southbound brings to the equation when helping individuals relocate.
So let's talk about your website. I was on your website earlier today, and it's a beautiful site. It's very
Thank
nicely
you.
done.
Thank
Bright
you, sir.
colors, easy to read,
Thank
and it
you.
sort of works on its by itself. So, do you have this kind of a topic on there? I don't remember right now.
I do. I have two on BTRs. I believe I have two articles on LinkedIn right now that talk about that subject, and then on my website I have two white papers that I've written on the housing market and the changing of how things are being facilitated and what we do different.
Okay, so let's take a couple of minutes here before we end this chapter one of hopefully we'll have a series going,
Yeah.
but one thing at a time. Let's talk about one of those white papers of BTR and the specific care that is required to get the people to understand what they're doing.
So again, going to the BTR, you're looking at a rental home community that is offering a product, a single family, a residence, and they can be sounds funny to say, but they can be as small as a one bedroom single family unit up to a four bedroom. But that product is offering a solution to a family that has a dog that
Right.
needs a little bit more running room. A family of three that has three, two kids, or a single mom with two kids that needs, a little bit more than what an apartment community would offer. But
And especially if they're going to be in a hybrid work situation where they would need a home which is larger than an apartment.
100%, 100%, and there's pros and cons there as well. I will say that the amenity spaces that both the BTRs offer and apartments in today's world are they've taken that problem. And speaking of today, I'm in a common area space in my apartment community that's absolutely beautiful. It's on the 30th floor. I'm overlooking Dallas, and it's a free amenity. And that goes the same for BTR. Going back to that, is they'll have common area spaces that you could utilize, and that's the difference between a private home also. If you're in that private home, you just have that home. That's it. You're paying rent to a landlord, and that's it. And hoping for the best, that nothing goes wrong. And if something goes wrong, it's going to get taken care of in a timely manner. And these larger property management companies that are handling these BTR communities are starting to be the larger property management companies that handle apartments. Your Gray Stars and your ZRS, these are people that I've dealt with for years on the apartment side, but they're just taking that model over to the BTR side.
And I'll tell you, right here in downtown San Diego, the downtown section here, I'm right a block from Seaport Village. So uh, to the east of us is the core business district, and then they've cleared away all the old parking lots and now they're building, guess what? 30, 40-story apartment towers, not
Yes.
condos.
Yes,
Right.
100%, 100%. And I think you're going to see a good influx of people coming in that are either local or not local that just want to be in that style of living.
Yeah. Aaron Florez, that's Florez, president of Southbound Relocation.com, apartment locating and relocation rental assistance. Thank you for being my guest on Global TV today.
And thank you so much again. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, I'll be back to you.
Okay,
And
bye.
so thank you again, Aaron, and out there in the audience are corporate HR people, corporate mobility and talent management and total rewards people, all the stakeholders when an employee is relocated. This is money saving information you just heard about today with Aaron Florez as a go-to expert. And I'm really happy to introduce you to the audience.
Thank you. So grateful.
Thank you, sir. Bye bye. Thank you.